I'm here today with Anthony. Anthony is the CEO of Aragon, and we have just met in Ethereum Dublin. Anthony, it's lovely to have you here. And yesterday you were in a panel and you were talking about DAOs, Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. Yeah. So Anthony, we would like to know about your role at Aragon and maybe a bit about DAOs and why they're important.
Sure, yeah. Perfect. Thanks for having me. So I'm Anthony from Aragon, the CEO. Aragon is a DAO tooling provider. So we allow for any group of people or organization to spin up a decentralized autonomous organization on the blockchain, particularly in the Ethereum network. We were the first to create what is called a DAO framework, and this is what provides this technology that allows people to launch these DAOs back in 2017. And since then, some great projects have built their DAOs on our stack, including the likes of Lido, Decentraland, Curve. And so there's roughly $40 billion in total value locked, or TVL, on our smart contracts. So we create the infrastructure part. So this allows, a developer can create a very custom DAO if they want. Or we also provide a front end where somebody who has no coding experience can also launch a very basic DAO, get their team members, group members, community together, mint and distribute tokens, or just use wallet addresses, and then be able to start to coordinate together. And this is what this sort of tooling allows for. Yeah.
So why did we need DAO in first place? I still meet a lot of people who don't know much about the Web3 terminology, but if you have to explain to a layman on why DAOs are important, would you explain?
Yeah. So the reason DAOs exist is to secure resources or assets of an organization. So this could be securing the protocol itself. It could also be securing information, and it could be securing money, potentially. So these are all things that are on the blockchain, and if they're on the blockchain, it means that potentially they could be susceptible to an attack. And why blockchains exist, and similarly why DAOs exist on top of blockchains, is to remove trusted intermediaries. And this is to ensure that these organizations are what we call unstoppable. And so to have an unstoppable organization, you need to basically fulfill certain parameters, right? You need to be censorship resistant. You need to be capturable or capture resistant. These types of fundamental values, which are instilled in the blockchain layer itself, then need to be replicated for the organizations built on the blockchain. So an example would be and this happens all the time, right? We see people who start a project to scam other people. They collect people's money, for example, and then if there's only one person who holds or controls that money, they can leave with that money. You see this happening potentially even in Lebanon. If people go to the bank, sometimes they can't even get their money out of the bank. So a DAO removes these trusted intermediaries. So I'll use Lido as an example. There's all the staked ETH, valuing roughly today $37 billion, is on Lido smart contracts. Now Lido want to be capture resistant, right? They want to be credible and neutral moving forward forever. And so how do they do that? Well, one methodology is to decentralize the organization, meaning no one party could be attacked by a regulator, by a government, by another person. And so how they did that is, of course, they distributed their LDO token, and then it requires all the token holders to vote to upgrade the protocol, to make a protocol upgrade, or to move X amount of money from one wallet address, from the DAO to another wallet address. So this really creates a more robust, secure system where it requires all your voters potentially to vote to move, money or upgrade a protocol or something like that. So it creates this layer of safety, and this can only be done really on a blockchain. And so that's why it's decentralized. You have a decentralized social layer of token holders or voters. It's on decentralized technology. And the autonomous aspect of a DAO means that it's trustless. It has the autonomy to do what it wants to do, and nobody can stop it from doing that, right? So this is what DAOs are needed. Basically, if you have more assets and value on the blockchain, you need to secure those assets, right? And thus you need DAOs. It's one and the same. You absolutely have to have DAOs if you have all these assets, protocols, et cetera, on chain. They have to be governed, and DAOs are what do this.
Amazing, interesting, very interesting. Because next question, and I was curious about, was security and privacy, that I think you have already answered for us, because of these algorithms and the voting mechanisms that's making the DAOs more secure and with enhancing the privacy of it. So with DAOs, there is always a question that I hear, that is full decentralization achievable? So are DAOs helping with getting to full decentralization? Or is it a question really worth putting at the moment when there is a lot of innovation that has already happened? So, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I would say decentralization is a means to an end, not the end itself. So yeah, we're trying to achieve our goals, and sometimes you need decentralization for that. Sometimes you don't need decentralization for that, right? And that just depends on what you're doing and what your goal is. So what are you trying to achieve? For a brand new project that just launched yesterday, do they need to be a fully decentralized organization off the start? The answer is probably not. Maybe they do. It depends on their goals and what state they are as an organization, but probably not. They probably need to move more quickly. They need to build their product. They need to iterate, right? But if you have product market fit, if you're deeper along as an organization, and you have a lot of money that needs to be secured, right? This is when you start to look at things like DAOs, because they're a better defensive measure than offensive measure, right? So are they helping in decentralize Ethereum or whatever network? And the answer is yes. So most of the large blockchains themselves are roll-ups built on top of Ethereum. You know, the Optimisms, the Arbitrums, our DAOs are becoming more decentralized as DAOs. So it's an integral part in ensuring that we are decentralized. And why are we decentralized? To be safe. One of the reasons.
Absolutely. So as a role of a CEO, what are your day-to-day responsibilities look like? And I'm curious to know. And as obviously as a leader, so what are your best practices when you're working working with teams across different countries and across borders?
Yeah, so my role, I'm definitely more of an externally facing CEO, which we decided as an organization that is what we needed more of. So I don't think I'm your very typical CEO. Definitely my main role is ensuring that the organization is moving towards a direction, and that direction is to fulfill our mission, right? Our mission is to enable organizations around the world to experiment with governance at the speed of software. And so how do we reach that goal? How do we reach that mission, right? What vision do we foresee this impacting the world, and what are our values? And so, I call them the MVV. So it's very important that I, as the CEO, ensure that the MVV is what our North Star. Mission, vision, and values. Yeah, so these are the three most important things that we strive to achieve every day as an organization. What is our mission? What is our vision? And what are the values to help us reach those, right? So making sure that we fulfill those is my role. And of course, then it breaks down much further into ensuring we have the best team, that the team is working really, really well, that they have their goals, that they're supported, that I hold people accountable. I set good expectations for the organization. I hold people accountable to those expectations, that we have a great working culture. And then I particularly spend a lot of time also with our growth team. Beyond, helping the product vision, the growth team, we need people to speak about our product. We need people to speak about our organization. We need to get the word out. We need to ensure our stakeholders, our partners, our users are happy, feel heard. So I think as a CEO, I think you sort of do everything. And you also try and fill a lot of holes to ensure that, in these small organizations that we have, 25 people, that everything gets done and gets done really well at a high quality level. So that's definitely sort of what I sort of do. A little bit of everything. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Anthony. Very, very insightful conversation. And any last minute thoughts you would like to share when it comes to innovation? So you've already touched upon these points on the upcoming roadmap and innovation that's happening in Aragon, or any. Yeah, sure.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's exciting to be here at ETH Dublin and to be in Dublin, which is quite a tech hub. It's great seeing that the community is growing here. And I think we need to keep spreading the good word and creating, I think it's really important that we find really good use cases for this industry, ensure that we're moving forward in the right direction and doing things really, really well. I think it's super important. So I'm really happy to be at ETH Dublin and glad to be speaking to you all and your viewers. And yeah.
Thank you for your time.